Good evening and welcome. Thanks very much for tuning in to NDTV. I'm Padmaja Joshi, and as always, for every story that matters to you, the big stories that you are talking about, the buck stops here. And today we are going to talk about a political controversy that has hogged headlines for a good fortnight. A book written by former Army Chief General MM Naravane has been the subject of heated politics, but now it is also the subject of a police investigation. After Rahul Gandhi waved a copy of General MM Naravane's 4 Stars of Destiny to claim that it showed an abdication of responsibility by the Modi government during the Galwan face-off, the question shifted to, what is this book that Mr. Gandhi is quoting from? Is this really General Naravane's book at all? What is the source? Has it been published? Where was this copy obtained from? Because remember, the leader of opposition had flaunted a physical copy of this book outside Parliament, and that is how he had made all of those claims. The Congress party was absolutely clear that this book is in publication, that they have obtained a physical copy from legitimate sources, and everything that is contained therein, henceforth, is also factual, accurate, and legitimate. However, today General Naravane himself broke his silence on the issue for the very first time. He spoke about his book. But before that, a very interesting chain of events had been set in motion. The Delhi police late yesterday night registered a suo motu FIR to investigate the online leak, apparently, of a preprint copy of this book. The publisher subsequently stepped in to clarify that the book is not in publication at all. It was never published. So no copy of it is available either in print or digital form. And finally, it was this stand of the publisher that was also endorsed by General Naravane himself. So who do we believe? The Congress says the choice is clear. What Rahul Gandhi is saying is the truth. He is quoting from the book. The book is authenticated. It is in publication. But it is also a claim that is being denied outright now, not just by the publisher, but the very author himself. General Naravane himself, by this statement, has clarified that the book does not exist in print. The question then is, where did this book come from? Was it faked or exaggerated to attack the government, or is all of this a massive cover-up under pressure?
Either Mr. Naravane is lying, and I believe the army chief. Okay, I don't think he will lie, or Penguin is lying. Somebody needs to. Both cannot be telling the truth. Okay.
So, do you think this is a conspiracy?
The link is from Amazon.eu.
Yeah.
Penguin is saying something. They're saying the book is not being published. Right? The book is available on Amazon. General Naravane has tweeted, as I just read to you, that please buy my book.
जिस किताब की बात हो रही है, उस किताब के लेखक कौन हैं? उस किताब के लेखक वो हैं जिनको इसी सरकार ने उनको आर्मी चीफ बनाया। उन्होंने आर्मी चीफ इस देश का बहुत माना हुआ पद है। वो व्यक्ति अगर कुछ बात लिख रहे हैं या कह रहे हैं, तो उसको बैन करना, FIR कर देना, पब्लिश नहीं होने देना, उसकी चर्चा ना होने देना, किस बात को छुपाना चाहते हैं? और राहुल गांधी जी अगर उस किताब में लिखा हुआ कुछ अंश उसका विवरण कर रहे हैं या उसका स्पष्टीकरण मांग रहे हैं, तो क्या गलत कर रहे हैं?
So the simple question is, what is the origin of this book? What does one make of the veracity of claims and of the politics around it? Joining us on the debate, we have Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesperson of the BJP, political analyst Tushar Gupta, spokesperson Samajwadi Party, Ghanshyam Tiwari, and political analyst Kamruzaman Chaudhary. But before that, I want to just lay out a few facts for you, which will really help you understand what really is the basis of this entire controversy. What has the Congress said so far? Rahul Gandhi produced a physical copy of this book on the 3rd of February and said that this book is freely available. However, the publisher has made it clear that the book has not gone into publication at all. And today, General Naravane, in his very succinct tweet, pretty much endorsed the statement of the publisher, saying, this is the status of my book, which means that the book has not gone into publication. The Congress is again saying that there are physical copies of this book available, that they can be ordered online. However, the publisher has been absolutely clear that the book does not exist either as a hard copy or in its digital form, and that is again something that General Naravane has also endorsed, which means that the status of book is as yet unpublished. The book is not available in print or digital form. And finally, the Congress is adamant that there are physical copies of the book available worldwide. Penguin has said pre-order standard practice. What was earlier quoted by the Congress party was actually a link talking about pre-order. The pre-order happened in 2024, where basically the publisher said, hey, look, this book is going to be published. You can pre-order so that you get advance copies. That was a pre-order, which is a standard practice. It doesn't really mean that the book is available. And even that has been endorsed by General Naravane. So let me ask the question, beginning with you, Ghanshyam Tiwari, where did the book come from? General Naravane says, my book hasn't been published. Penguin says the book hasn't been published. So where did the book come from?
Good evening, Padmaja, to you, the viewers, and the fellow co-panelists. Let's piece together what is most important. That the leader of opposition was quoting from a magazine about a book whose pre-order has been published, and the author of the book is the former army chief. So far, neither the defense minister nor the former army chief has said or have said that anything that Rahul Gandhi was quoting was a lie. Never. And it is in public domain, it has been in public domain. The press trust of PTI published an expert of this book. Other organizations, The Hindu, published from this book. This was in the pre-order. So a book has been written. The book contains this content.
A book has been written, but is it that book? Are we sure this is the book that is being quoted from and which is being shown? Because this book hasn't been published according to General Naravane and to the publisher. The book that General Naravane wrote is currently not published.
Same thing.
According to the author himself.
Yes,
a book is being quoted, but is the book being quoted?
So far, 4 times you've said the same thing. So in a this childlike question was asked by Amit Shah. This childlike question was asked by Defense Minister. This childlike question was asked by Kiran Rijiju in front of the Prime Minister at the time when leader of opposition was speaking. And a childlike response came from the Speaker of the House. And that is the reason the man faces no confidence motion. That a book that authenticates a certain conversation that has not been reputed, that has not been said no, repudiated by the Defense Minister as well as Mr. Naravane, right, got a response which was childlike. It was almost like the school children sitting there trying to say that the man who's accused of cheating the nation did not cheat the nation. And the final point is this the first time? What did Dr. Satyapal Malik say
again,
on 14th February 20? Again, you will interrupt.
You can call questions
you will interrupt, but you will allow me one final point.
The question is simply this. If a book hasn't been published, according to the publisher and the author, how are you quoting from that book? That's the simple question.
The simple answer is the book has been written. A page from the book is available in public domain. The author has not denied that is the authentic page. Nothing else matters.
But the author has denied it. The author says my book hasn't been published.
That's again, your viewers should in a loop hear what I said. A book has been written. We know the author. A page from the book has been quoted. The author has not said that this is not a page from my book. The author has not said that this page is a bunch of lies. And this is the full truth.
Okay.
And a childlike response from the government, who had a similar response, by the way, when Dr. Satyapal Malik said after Pulwama, 14th February 2019, when the Prime Minister was in a jungle safari, Dr. Satyapal Malik said that we failed our soldiers. Prime Minister said, chup raho. Doval said, chup raho.
Okay.
The same response was in Galwan 3 years, a year later,
okay,
when China was there and our soldiers were fighting bravely. Many days later, the defense minister woke up. So you have a sleeping defense minister.
Look, I think let's something that for some strange reason Ghanshyam Tiwari is not putting out there. Let's be absolutely clear. There is a pirated version of this book which is doing the rounds. Most people have received it on social media, and that is the reason why the FIR has also been filed. Perhaps that is the version that Rahul Gandhi also read. Instead of focusing on that, are you now browbeating Rahul Gandhi, General Naravane and Penguin in order to silence them, or as Ghanshyam Tiwari says, chup raho?
Well, Padmaja, should we believe Rahul Gandhi or not? Let's for an instance hypothetically believe Rahul Gandhi. This is what Rahul Gandhi said the very morning.
The point I'm making is, either Mr. Naravane is lying, and I believe the army chief.
So,
The
he said that he believes the army chief. What's the latest statement of the ex-army chief? That this is the status of the book. What did the ex-army chief quote? The publisher. So the ex-army chief and the publisher are speaking in the same breath. Now Rahul Gandhi of the morning believes the ex-army chief, which means as per the ex-army chief, the book is not in public domain. So what is he quoting? Is he trying to quote the blank copy of the Indian Constitution, erstwhile when he used to take the copy of the Constitution and later we realized that it was not the copy of the Constitution, it was a blank book with only the cover of the Constitution? That is point number one. So Rahul Gandhi tried to shoot his politics off the shoulder of the ex-army chief because publicly available statements of the ex-army chief also categorically discounted the statements which Rahul Gandhi was making that India tried to sell its national interest to China, whereas publicly available statements of the ex-army chief said that पूरी खुली छूट दी गई है और हिंदुस्तान ने चीन को मुंहतोड़ जवाब दिया. That was the essence of it. So Rahul did not believe the publicly available statement of the ex-army chief. Then Rahul went ahead and said that this is the state of the book. It compelled the ex-army chief because he understood that Rahul Gandhi is trying to do politics on his name, which is wrong. This is why the ex-army chief had to come out publicly and say that this is the status of the book. Otherwise, what was the need of the ex-army chief to come out publicly?
Maybe you pressured him. Maybe you pressured him.
We never did it. We said that the book is not in public domain. And even after the entire controversy, what is the final stand of the ex-army chief? The ex-army chief's final stand is that the book is not published. So the ex-army chief and publisher are speaking the same breath. Why should Rahul Gandhi not apologize to the nation in 10 seconds? When has Rahul Gandhi spoken the truth? Rafale lied. China, Justice Dipankar Datta had to tell Rahul Gandhi, and I quote Justice Dipankar Datta, if you are a true Indian, you will not say that India's land was taken by Chinese, because that is not the official statement of the Indian army. So when has Rahul been correct? How do we believe Rahul Gandhi?
Okay, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, now Mr. Gandhi has said, I will believe the army chief. You have to believe him when he says my book is not in publication. So what was Rahul Gandhi holding?
Well, Padmaja, you see, this entire issue is a classic case of diversion by a cornered Narendra Modi government and the defense ministry in particular. The main issue of discussion was whether the book was published, whether the book was circulated or not. Even today, as I was coming to your channel, I was reading an article by one of the very leading publications of India, wherein they said, prior to this, the defense ministry withdrawing or recalling the book, it was publicly available in many bookstores across Delhi, and I believe across other cities also. What was written in that book? Can I finish my statement, please? Now the point is that why I say this is a classic diversionary tactics. Whether the book was published, whether it was not published, whether Rahul Gandhi did a very wrong act in bringing the book into the public domain. That apart, leave that aside. But the main question is that whether General Naravane had exposed Narendra Modi's government in the indecision at a crucial time
that India gave a befitting reply to Chinese. You did not believe that, sir.
Come on. Please, this is not a shouting match. You are in a Padmaja show. I know you will be shouting because you don't have any answers. Listen to the questions.
Would have been biased.
Listen to the
that
questions.
That is what your source could have been.
Mr. Pradeep Bhandari.
Sir, what?
Come on, Pradeep Bhandari, please listen to the questions. Don't get agitated. The public wants to know.
Do you believe the ex-army chief or not? When has the ex-army chief contradicted what we are saying?
Simple question.
You tell when has the ex-army chief contradicted what we are saying?
Let him ask his question. Kamruzaman Chaudhary.
Please go ahead.
Ask your question.
2016, let me just remind the countrymen, during the surgical strikes, our honorable Prime Minister had very categorically in an interview said that I let the fighter planes fly out of the radar's view just above the clouds so that the Pakistani radar won't be able to. He was so involved in decision making when our surgical strikes were happening in Pakistan, and we are all proud of that surgical strike. But in this particular case, when General Naravane said, what do I do now? 2.5 hours.
Sir, we do not know what General Naravane said. That is the whole point. You are forming your opinions and you are forming your arguments on the basis of what you think General Naravane has said. But General Naravane is actually saying, I have never said that, or at least wherever I have said it, that book has not been published.
That's why I said this.
So what have you read basis which you are forming these arguments? You're putting the cart before the horse. You're putting the cart before the horse because you are saying General Naravane has called out this government in his book, but that book is not there. Have you read it? I haven't read it. No. He says it's not available. He says it's not published. What are you all quoting?
No, you are saying it is not published.
The
author
is saying it's not published.
People who have read the book are saying that the entire
How can you read the book when it is not published? A
Narendra
pre-order
Modi,
can also be
except
available for the
that
title
one
of the book. I have
episode,
myself written 2 books.
Except for that one episode,
Kamru, you are really
when General
talking like
Naravane criticized
Baluk Buddhi
the
Rahul.
indecision of Narendra Modi and the Defense Ministry at the crucial life and death situation.
Okay, actually, I haven't said it. Penguin Random House has said, and let me quote verbatim what they have said. We wish to make it clear that the book has not gone into publication. No copies of the book in print or in digital form have been published, distributed, sold or otherwise made available to the public by Penguin Random House India. Any copies of the book currently in circulation in whole or in part, whether in print, digital, PDF or any other format, online or offline, on any platform constitutes an infringement. So they are basically saying that this book does not exist whether in a digital or a hard copy form. This is what Penguin is saying, and this is what General Naravane has
Caravan
endorsed.
who published the article. It should be filed. The Caravan should be facing some serious
That's
question.
why an FIR has been filed.
To the article.
The premise that an FIR has been filed is
the Defense Ministry should answer.
My dear
whether
friend,
this
the
book is
premise that
under
the FIR
review
has
for the
been
last
filed is
2 years.
exactly this.
Yes or no?
Because as per the
Yes or
publisher
no?
and the ex-army chief, the book is not published.
That the book
What
has
are you
not
trying
been
to
published,
quote and why you
not
bring
landed
the
Rahul
ex-army
Gandhi's
chief in
hand.
your politics?
This is
You get a call from
absolutely rubbish.
China.
The basic point out here,
The basic
Caravan
point
has
is India
managed
gave
to
a
publish
befitting
it.
reply to the Chinese publicly
Citing
available statement of the ex-army chief, corroborated it. The ex-army chief
General
was pushed
Manoj
to come in public
Naravane
domain because of
has
Rahul
never
Gandhi's fake news.
refuted the allegations that Rahul Gandhi is making in the floor of the parliament. If at all Pradeep Bhandari and his party thinks that Rahul Gandhi has committed a treason, then let us discuss the book on the floor of the parliament. Why is the Prime Minister, why is the Defense Ministry shying away from discussing this? A lot number of times we have tried to discuss it on the floor of the parliament about the China Galwan clash.
Okay, let me bring in Tushar Gupta. I will tell you what the people are thinking today, Tushar Gupta. That there was the pirated copy of the book that was circulated. That some people read it, including the journalist in Caravan. They published an article. Rahul Gandhi is now quoting it. And because of that, Penguin and General Naravane have had the government lean on them. They are forced to deny it. And a case has been filed to silence everyone. To silence that magazine, to silence General Naravane and to silence Rahul Gandhi.
Good evening, Padmaja. Every time the question of such books comes up, that some pirated copy is available or some books have not been cleared by the government, have not been taken out by the publisher for sales, you often see a lot of hysteria around these books. But once these books come out in the market, you realize there is nothing really in them that, warrants all that hysteria. Nevertheless,
so then the government should allow a debate, right? You've hit the nail on the head. Allow a debate. Allow Rahul Gandhi to speak in parliament.
Let me complete. Now, there are 3 parties in this debate. The author, the one who had to publish the book, and the leader of opposition who wants to politically deploy that book to score brownie points. Now, the first 2 parties are saying the book doesn't exist. So, first question to Rahul Gandhi, what was the book that he was carrying outside the parliament, the hardcover? Where did it come from? Who gave it to him? That question needs to be answered. Number 2. Rahul Gandhi himself is quoting only a part of the book he thinks he has. We don't know what he's carrying. We don't know if the book he's carrying is a blank copy, it's a book, it's a pirated copy. We actually do not know what Rahul Gandhi is quoting from. But Ghanshyam Tiwari here rightly pointed out that Rahul Gandhi might be quoting a page from the book. So he's actually giving you just an excerpt from an entire book that has not been published, that has not been read. So Rahul Gandhi also is cherry picking the material that suits his political agenda.
No, but he doesn't have a page. He has the whole book. He has the whole book. It is hardbound. It is in his hands. He is not quoting a page. He says, I have the whole book. In fact, he said it can be accessed online. It can be accessed on Amazon.
Can you tell the page number?
How many pages are, okay, my question, one second. How many pages are in the book? Ask Kamru. How many total pages are in the book?
I think Mr. Chaudhary has a PDF copy.
Can he quote the page number?
Can
he quote the
okay, Mr. Chaudhary, you're showing
Can he quote the exact context?
Mr. Chaudhary is showing it online. Although I have to say you would be guilty of copyright infringement, but sure, go on.
He is used to going to jail.
No, Padmaja, I am just reading what's available online.
Padmaja,
like any other
hold on.
He can't deviate.
Caravan had
If he
published
believes
the
that the
article,
book
they are
is out there, Rahul has a copy.
But the point here is that Major Naravane
how many total pages are there in the book?
This is
He
no.
says,
Naravane
hello
point
friends,
cannot deviate.
my book
He's
is available
exposed.
now.
No,
Just
Kamru, how
follow
many
the
total
link.
pages are there in the
Happy
book?
reading, Jai Hind. And what Penguin India, who was under so much of pressure to deny the publishing
Arey,
of the
if you
book,
have the
says,
book or your
as we
leader
gear up
Rahul
for
Gandhi
Vijay
has the book,
Diwas,
tell us the
let's
total
take a
number of
moment to
pages in the
celebrate
book.
the heroes of our
Tell us
country.
what is there on the back
starting
cover.
with Major Naravane, the
He's doing
20th chief of
exactly
the
like
army
Padmaja.
staff,
He was
who
waving
fought
Indian
for India for
Constitution. Later on, it was found that it was an
saw his
empty
story
book with only the
pre-order
Constitution as the front page.
now, and it was available in Amazon
Arey,
pre-order.
okay, open Amazon and show whether it is available or not. I challenge him. Open Amazon and show whether it is available or not.
My basic question is
open Amazon right now. Open Amazon right now. Open challenge.
Yes, then let's
the book is
discuss it on
available.
the floor of
Open
the
Amazon
parliament.
right now. And
Why are you stopping Rahul Gandhi from discussing this on the floor of the parliament? What are you trying to hide from
There
the
is
people
nothing.
of
We
India?
cannot discuss a fictitious and imaginary thing. Parliament does not run by a whims and fancy, my dear friend.
Your
Discuss in the Congress Karyalay.
Chhati has been
My simple
exposed.
part is, he said
This
that the
time-
book is available on Amazon. Please show us where is it available on Amazon. Show us on the buck stops here. I will apologize if it's available.
You bring in a law to change Supreme Court's direction on the Election
acting
Commission
like
of
a child
India.
now.
You change the CBI director at night 12
What is he
o'clock,
doing now?
and you
Now
think
you're
that is
debating
very
CBI,
childish
ED
for
what?
me to understand that you won't be pressurizing Penguin to issue this thing
Asad,
and
you
Amazon
also
to remove the
pressurize
book
Islamic
link.
logic.
Okay, you know,
Come on.
I think what Kamruzaman Chaudhary is referring to, there should be clarity on that as well. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, today Rahul Gandhi showed a pre-order link that had been put up by Penguin about a year and a half ago. Let me take you through those sequence of events with that actual link which the Congress party has shown, not I. First, let's take a look at this tweet that was put out by Penguin. Let's take a look at that tweet by Penguin that was put out. Can we please go to that tweet? Right. So here is this tweet that was put out on the 15th of December 2023. What does this link say? As we gear up for Vijay Diwas, take a moment to celebrate the heroes, starting with General Naravane. To know of his story, pre-order 4 stars of destiny now. Pre-order, that is the operative part. Pre-order 4 stars of destiny. This was said on the 15th of December. Subsequently, General Naravane himself on the same day, on the 15th of December, said, "Hello friends, my book is available now. Follow the link. Happy reading." This was the pre-order that Penguin had spoken of, which happened on the 15th of December. Now, there were a number of people who on the 15th of December pre-ordered this book. One of them was a journalist who I checked with today called Poonam Pandey. She's a defense journalist for a newspaper. She pre-ordered this book on the 15th of December 2023. But on the 15th of January 2024, when the delivery was supposed to happen, a day before that, on the 14th of Jan 2024 itself, the pre-order was cancelled. Much before this became a controversy, much before Rahul Gandhi picked it up, and which is why the question now arises, Ghanshyam Tiwari, was there a pre-order link given in 2023? But within a matter of 20 days, that was stopped before the Congress picked it up, because there was a realization that the requisite clearances from the Defense Ministry hadn't come.
So Padma, there are two things. One, any viewer can test this. Go to Google, ask Gemini, what is the number of pages in this book? It will say 448 pages. This is not a general knowledge question. So there is a book that exists. Even a basic Google search will tell you how many number of pages is there. Point number 2, that if it's the same user, same viewer who's seeing, looks at the history of this book. Here is the history. I'll say step by step. PTI in December 2023 carried an excerpt about this book, and the way it spoke about Agnipath schemes, Bhutan, salami slicing, intelligence and preparedness. Then between 2024 and 2026, I'm looking at the print article a few months ago, March 2025, that talks about how the book is in limbo. Similarly, there are articles that talk about different articles that have been released between 2024 and 2025 that talk about how the government.
Are you suggesting that the pre-orders were stopped after the PTI take came out? After these excerpts from the book began to go viral?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm simply saying.
Are you just made an argument? I'm trying to understand what you are trying to argue over here. Because I have proven to you that in January 2024 itself, the pre-orders had been cancelled much before this snowballed into a controversy, which happened on the 3rd of February 2026.
I'm only suggesting to your viewers that what Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh say is irrelevant.
Arey, ye kya baat hui? I'm trying to give you a timeline. You have answered that by saying everything is irrelevant. Sir, give me a contradictory timeline. Okay, very quickly, Tushar Gupta wants to respond.
Ghanshyam Tiwari is the only relevant fellow on this panel.
Very simply, I'm trying to ask you.
Please allow me one second.
My point is for the last 2 years.
Cancelled in January last year itself. What is the controversy?
Please allow me one sentence.
Where is the pressure?
Please allow me one sentence.
Okay,
just
so Tushar Gupta wants to answer. Please give him 30 seconds.
I'm not
30 seconds, Tushar Gupta.
Padmaja, one thing, a lot of books are available for pre-order 3 months to 6 months before they launch. That doesn't mean they're available in the market, that they are in circulation, or some hard copies or digital copies are available with anyone. Number 2, the excerpts that have been doing the rounds in public constitute only a couple of pages of the entire book. My only question to everyone, blowing things out of proportion is, how are you forming an opinion about what General Naravane wants to say on the basis of only 2 pages that he has written? And the Caravan article everyone quotes, that article also 40 pages long, that article at the end of it says that India, at the end of the operations, gained a tactical advantage in the Kailash range after the army did its thing. So why are people only looking at the side that can be used to somehow accumulate a propaganda against the government, but not looking at the truth in its entirety?
So I think this is head or tail. You can't be on both sides.
Yeah, you can't be quoting the Caravan article when you are distrusting its very source, Tushar. Let's be fair about it. Either you say you believe the Caravan article and believe everything that it says and it's based on the book, or you dismiss the article altogether.
No, I don't.
Even the good parts of the article. Where the article is saying that, the government did a bang-up job, there you cannot be trusting the article. Either we say the article is misinformed and it cannot be authenticated in its entirety.
It is head or tail. You can't be on both sides of the coin.
No, let me be very clear.
Please allow me. Please allow me.
Okay, Padmaja, let me be very clear. I think the article in that magazine makes no sense because it also says that the Balakot strikes were a failure. This is my question for those who are taking the article seriously.
Okay,
I do not take that article seriously. I am only going by what the publisher is saying, by what the author is saying.
So Tushar Gupta says that entire article is bunkum. Its source is also dubious.
So your viewers can now see that Tushar believes that there is a book. It has a page in Caravan written about the book. And the entire government, in front of the Prime Minister, in front of the nation, when leader of opposition started to speak, from the speaker to the Prime Minister to Amit Shah to Rajnath Singh threw a fit, almost childlike fit, when the same page was being quoted. Prime Minister is the leader of the House. He let go of an opportunity to speak to the House at length that how his tactics and strategy with respect to China were successful. Why would he throw away this opportunity? Because he believes that a mistake was made. And there's a cover-up. How do you ensure that cover-up? By a Prime Minister who wants to hide behind the Speaker's chair saying that few women MPs are going to attack me.
Okay.
This is the cover-up.
This is the
Don't
cover-up.
allow leader of opposition to speak.
Essentially,
and
it
then
boils down to this.
Round and round saying that the book is not published. It doesn't matter.
Okay. You are harping on technicalities.
By the author, the truth is here.
Ensure the cover-up, Pradeep Bhandari.
Well, if the technicalities do not matter, then the public statement of the ex-army chief, which said, and I quote him, that for the first time since 1970, India got a tactical advantage vis-a-vis China on the border, should be taken not just on face value, but as the most conclusive statement. So as per the ex-army chief's own public admission and statement, India for the first time since 1970 gave befitting reply to the Chinese, point number 1. So Ghanshyam here is lying. Now on the part of it, it's about following the parliamentary rule and procedure. He could have released the book and he can do a press conference on the book. I challenge him to do a press conference on the book. If he has the entire book copy, why does he not do a press conference on it? Because he knows that he does not have the copy. There is a selective leak of a page which was given to some by Congressy troll working writing in Penguin to Rahul Gandhi, which he's quoting, and he has an empty book. Now, Ghanshyam fact check. He said, do a basic Gemini. I did a basic Gemini. Does General Narvane's book is available online on public domain? Gemini says, no, the book is not available on public domain.
Ghanshyam Tiwari.
Point number one. Second fact check of Ghanshyam. He said, does pre-ordering a book mean that the book is already published? Second Gemini, no, pre-ordering a book does not mean that the book is published. So my question is, अरे भैया जब कुछ दूल्हे बारात पे पहुंचे ही नहीं, शादी हुई नहीं, तो किस बात की मायूसी मना रहे हो या खुशी मना रहे हो? हुआ क्या है?
Your viewers noted that Pradeep vehemently asked a question that how many pages are there in the book?
वो तो common sense है जब book pre-order के लिए
and I answered please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt.
वो बता पाए.
Please don't interrupt. You vehemently asked a question that there is no book, so nobody can tell how many pages are there in the book.
Kamru cannot tell.
That information is publicly available, and I take you on the face value. You say that the Prime Minister did a glowing job with respect to China, notwithstanding the trade deficit and other things that we in opposition talk about. Then why, as the leader of a house, in a house where he has majority, where he has more number of speakers than entire opposition combined, BJP alone has more number of speakers, he let go of that opportunity.
Because we were discussing the budget.
Benches such as
budget session. That is what the discussion was. You could have given a notice, a short duration notice.
Mr.
Matter of urgent importance, Ghanshyam ji.
In front of the
You are a very knowledgeable man. I personally have huge respect for you. But we were discussing the budget at that time. Tomorrow, when you go to the parliament from your party and you raise a motion, you speak on the budget, you will only speak on the budget. You will not tomorrow go against the party line and say that I will not discuss budget.
It was a motion of thanks. It was a motion of
on the president's speech, which was nothing to do with the specific issue which you were raising.
But just a second, here is where you end up looking extremely defensive. And again, people keep saying, you come on television and you say, we have got these smashing rebuttals to Rahul Gandhi, then use the floor of the parliament to blow his argument to smithereens. Let him present his arguments. You give your counters. Everything that Nishikant Dubey has, all of these 100 books that he is tweeting out, you say it in parliament. Have that discussion.
So we should remove.
Why are you looking so defensive?
Because Rule 343, 349 does not allow that.
But after he discusses the budget, have a separate debate on whether these matters of national importance.
Give an official notice. When has he given an official short duration notice or a matter of urgent public
Okay, Kamru Zaman Chaudhary. Maybe it should be debated and give a separate notice to have this discussion on what is said in General Narvane's book, if it exists, or whatever excerpt you have, or whatever excerpt you have. Kamru Zaman Chaudhary.
Padmaja, today I am very ashamed. Our country's leadership has been exposed very royally. I'll come to that later, whether the book is genuine or ingenuine or something like that. But when a former army chief's recollections, whether in bracket, whether right or wrong, will come when the book releases eventually, suggest hesitation, communication gaps, and reactive strategy during a live border operation crisis. It raises a serious question. Was India led by a decisive wartime leadership like Indira Gandhi or by a political risk management like Narendra Modi? The questions, the answers need to be debated and found out on the floor of the parliament, not on NDTV studios.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line.
Debated, but you need to get your source material right, first of all. And you need to be absolutely clear what is the source of that information which you want the country to debate. And principally, I think, yes, there should be a debate because nobody should be left even in a shadow of doubt.
What should we debate?
Absolutely. So that needs to be authenticated. The Congress needs to be absolutely clear. Where has this book come from? What is its source? And then its contents should be made public. And then it should be discussed threadbare. Last 30 seconds, Tushar Gupta.
Padmaja, for the last 5.5 years, even when the former army chief was saying that we have given China a befitting reply, Rahul Gandhi used to say that we have lost 2,000 square kilometers of territory in eastern Ladakh. Did he ever come up with the coordinates or any evidence? No, he did not. Rahul Gandhi is the same person who went and met an ailing defense minister and then came out and furthered his propaganda against a Rafale deal only to be called out by Manohar Parrikar, who was in very bad health back then. So are we really going to believe Rahul Gandhi? For 5.5 years, he carried on an agenda, and today a page from a book that has not been published is dear to Rahul Gandhi because, again, the word abdicate that he's using, it's not from the excerpt. book. It's from the article of the magazine article. I do not take seriously. Anyone shouldn't take seriously because it says that the Balakot
Only
strike
OP India
was a
should be
failure.
taken seriously.
Okay, but if it is more than just a page and a magazine article, if there is an entire book that Mr. Gandhi or the Congress have, perhaps they should tell us the source. They should convince the government and the parliament, more importantly, of the authenticity.
The ex-army chief.
Yes, they should convince this ex-army chief, the author and the parliament of its authenticity, and there shouldn't be a shadow of doubt about whatever that book contains and whatever its ramifications are for our country. But there are larger issues also at play over here. Should generals write memoirs? What does it mean for our national security? Are we actually missing the woods for the trees when we get involved in the politics and forget the military lessons that should be contained therein? That is the bigger question. But all the politics aside, it is also important to understand what such memoirs mean, what are the rules that govern them, and what can we learn from this current controversy. We have top generals help us decode that. Joining us now on the show, we have Major General Yashmore. Also with us is Lieutenant General Raj Shukla. Lieutenant General Shukla, I want to start with you first. Good evening. Thanks very much both for speaking to us. General Naravane has now said that his book was never published. How do we make sense then of this entire controversy that was revolving around an unpublished book? What really happened?
Padmaja, this General Naravane episode, if we may call it that, should turn the spotlight on two critical issues. And one is that should memoirs by senior army commanders, leaders be written, should they be released, and should they be read? And two is the deeper issue of the civil-military relationship, a subject to which I have devoted my entire career. Now, both these issues, in my view, are extremely salient. So let's take the first one. See, as India steps into the big league, what we are now the fourth largest economy, Lowy tells us we are the third most, we are third ranking in terms of comprehensive national power. We need to step up our game in national security. And specifically this business of high defense organization and what we call the civil-military relationship, where I think there are issues of deep insights, deep nuances, and many of these nuances come from memoirs. So books like War in the High Himalayas, 1962. There is a book by General V.K. Singh, not the chief, but an officer from the signals, about 12 remarkable military leaders. They must be read. A few months back, I was at the release, or I spoke at the release of a book by General N.C. Vij, which was titled Alone in the Ring, which means the chief of the army staff is alone. He is by design a hot potato, what General Naravane said. He has to take decisions which will be of great consequence to national security. Let me quote to you General H.R. McMaster, who was, national security advisor to Trump. He's written a book called At War with Ourselves. And on a lighter note, the first chapter of that book, If We Know Trump, he's titled You're Hired. The second chapter is You Are Fired. He was actually fired after a year. And he recounts how to release that book. He had to get clearances from White House, the National Security Council, the Pentagon. So memoirs must be written, they must be released, they must be read. They are a tool of professional military education. These books form prescribed reading for JC, Senior Command, Defense Services Staff College. That's how military leadership grows. But the point, I think, which General Naravane and the publisher both are making, that when you are privy to privileged communications with the Chief of Army Staff is, prior to release, they must have the concurrence of the government. Now, that for some reason did not happen, and that remains the mystery. And I'll tell you why it's so important. I'll just take 30 seconds before I yield the floor to General Moore. I was in the MO Directorate. I was a brigadier when the Henderson-Brooks report was to be released. And Mr. Kuldeep Nair was pressing for his release. And through Mr. Habibullah, who was the chairman of the Information Commission, he came to MO Directorate and he was putting pressure on us. We said, sir, the army has already, we've been defamed enough for 62 because we were at fault. The Henderson-Brooks report carries passages of corps commanders crying in ops rooms, chiefs being helpless. But we said there are larger issues of statecraft here, foreign policy, boundary disputes. Mr. Habibullah sat with that in a corner and after 1.5 hours said, we cannot release it. And it is very different from when we quote the United States. The United States fights distant wars, Vietnam. There are no intimate boundary disputes. In our case, it's very different. So the short point is General Naravane has the right to write his memoirs. They must be written. They must be released. Everybody gains, but they have to have clearance from the government, because there are broader issues involved. With that, I'll yield the floor to General Moore and then, join conversation later.
General Moore, do you think that this would have actually led to a healthy conversation on what lessons can be learned had we not got politics involved? That has left the waters.
And that I'll come to that after General Moore speaks.
Exactly, Padmaja. And I think General Raj Shukla has cleared all the mist around this entire thing. Memoirs must be written, and they are not only for serving officers. There are large number of young people who wish to join the NDA, the IMA, the forces, young and otherwise also large number of people wish to learn about the military. So memoirs of senior officers like General Naravane, how did he join NDA, his life as a young officer. I think 95% of the book is all about his life, and those must be read by young people across or even older people in India and abroad. So that point, there are two contentious issues in the book. One is, of course, this entire thing of higher defense management, decision making. And my take is, have we learned any lessons from Kargil? At least that time, we were honest enough to have a group of ministers. We went into deep analysis, border management, higher defense management. And that is a time when we recommended we must have integrated theater commands and CDS and, all these things came up post the deep analysis the military took along with the civil leadership and the bureaucracy on lessons learned in Kargil. But here on this particular, just 5 years, but there's nothing much that has come out as far as how was the decisions being made. We are not talking of personalities here, but we should know what was the decision, because now we are dealing with China, because otherwise the next generation will never know when another problem comes up 10, 20 years later. So that is one. The other issue in this book is about the Agniveer scheme. Somehow that is not being discussed now, but when the excerpts were released, he has written that there is a quote attributed to him, which was available in the social media, bolt from the blue. How Air Force and Navy is accepting a scheme like this? He never accepted it. He probably recommended 75% reduction and 25% could be wasted out after 4 years. So that is also an issue, I think, which is somewhere there in the book. So both the issues are, again, as General Shukla said, civil military relationship, higher decision making, operational. How are our senior officers performing under stress? Otherwise, it's all okay. Every year, almost year, 2 year, we have turnover of GOCs, corps commanders, army commanders, and chief. Sometimes nothing much happens in their entire tenure. But it is rarely when we have this kind of a national security issue on our borders. There was huge skirmishes. We lost a CO and 19 other ranks. We need to know a little bit more. And only if we discuss, we debate in a healthy environment, will we learn lessons. If we don't want to discuss and debate, then, we will really not know what happened, and we will not be able to, analyze these issues and learn from them. So I think memoirs must be written. Probably some bit of this could have been handled 2 years, the book. Either those portions could have been deleted initially itself, could have been handled between the publisher, General Naravane, and the hierarchy. But now I think issue has gone beyond the publisher and the chief.
And both sides have got their backs up now. It is more about politics rather than what the military details are, including what has now become a political slogan, General Shukla, Jo uchit samjhiye, wo kariye. Now, it is not even about, people are debating, what is that supposed to mean? Was it abdication? Was it a free hand?
So, I think it starts with a cultural issue. I am from UP. If you tell me कि आप वो करें जो उचित समझे, what do I interpret? I will say the politician is telling the military man that I know nothing of this stuff. I respect your professional wisdom. You do what you think is appropriate, and I will stand by you. And what else does the politician say? He's not going to tell you in phase 1 you do this, in phase 2 you do this. So that is one point. The second point I'll make, I go back to General Padmanabhan. General Padmanabhan said that when Mr. Vajpayee gave him the orders for Parakram, and he asked, sir, what are my specific orders? He said, aap chaliye, hum batayenge. Now that is the way the politician speaks. The art of generalship lies in inferring this. And therefore, it is an area of ambiguity. It requires, careful calibration and trust. If I may just go back now to 71, military to military. There's an outstanding guy whom we don't debate, Sagat Singh, one of the best corps commanders we've ever had. General Arora, knowing Sagat, tells him, Sagat, when you reach the Meghna, or if you reach the Meghna first, you will not cross him. Sagat says, yes, sir. But when Sagat reaches the Meghna, General Arora rings him up and tells Sagat, Sagat, you have reached the Meghna. You remember what I told you. And Sagat turns around and says, sir, I'm a corps commander. I see opportunity across and Dhaka beyond. I'm crossing at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Now, if that operation had not succeeded, he would have been court-martialed. But that it succeeded, we created a new geopolitical reality. So it is not about these bland statements. Politico-military relationships settle questions of war and peace. And that's why what General Moore said, that Kargil Review Committee business is so important. Let me make two issues. And here General Naravane raises some good issues. This China study group has outlived its utility. Now that the CDS has been formed, the chain of command must flow either from the political leadership to the theatre commander. And that was the whole purpose of theatre commands, so as to reduce these bureaucratic layers, or from the political leadership to the CDS and the theatre commanders. The China study group is good for peacetime confabulations. It does not work in war. Deterrence needs to flow to the brigades and the battalions. It has not happened. We must really examine why should a China study group, and if that happens, then you will lead to these kind of issues. So I agree entirely with General Moore. And if I may make just last point, these issues cannot be left to the military. Kargil Review Committee, the author was Mr. K. Subramaniam, the father of Mr. Jay Shankar, and what a brilliant mind. When he spoke of theatre commands and the DIA. The DIA was created because he wanted the military to take its gaze beyond the LACLC. Look beyond, shape your environment, what you call hemispheric influence. The theatre commanders were supposed to have a quasi-diplomatic role. Look at instabilities in Myanmar and Bangladesh. We have reduced it to issues of air power. And as if it is all about that, that Bandar Bant between, sorry to use it does, not sorry, but that Hindi phrase reflects it pretty well. The distribution of vacancies between the three services. So I think both General Moore and I are making a point that these deep issues of high defense organization need to be debated by civilians. Padmaja, militaries have never reformed on their own. They need these civilian intellectualism to push them to reform. And I think those will be the lessons which we should carry from this, shall I say, unfortunate General Naravane episode.
And which is why we need to move beyond the sloganeering that we are seeing so far.
Yes.
Jo uchit lage wo kariye, General Moore. What is the uchit thing to do at this point? And what do you make of that one thing that has become, the buzzword today, that one slogan?
It is again, there's so much of fog in these things. And in the narrative, what exactly happened. We have only heard what, as a chief, the pressure on him to take decision. What has happened earlier, right from April onwards, when this thing was crisis? Was he told that you will not fire? That part we don't know. So why did he go? Otherwise, I'm sure any military leader, say we spoke of General Sagat Singh, General Manekshaw, we have had some brilliant, we did Op Meghdut, with surprise, shocked, I think brilliant operation by Indian Army. Again, the orders were, the intent was clear. But here, was something held back from the military that you will not fire? That is why he was going asking on telephone, batao mujhe main kya karna hai? That part we don't know. So maybe that is why. Otherwise, I think in the military sphere, whether it is on the line of control with here or anywhere else, and right from 71, actually after 71, we changed a lot in our thought process. We became a proactive. From strategic defense, we started, even in our military exercise, our thought process as military leaders, we were now looking in offensive plans, doing things, maneuver warfare, use of Jan Sundarji. I think the most brilliant mind Indian Army produced is General K. Sundarji. And some of us were seen him very closely, heard him many times, read his books. So इस तरह का इंटेलेक्चुअल तभी आएगा जब when you will encourage people to read. और मेरा बड़ा इशू आज इस पे है, जो कुछ तो जल शुक्ला ने बड़ी अच्छी बातें बताई, which I was not. What about Official Secrets Act 1923? What is the meaning today? That is why, Padmaja, today, how many officers have written books on CI? I myself have been, great proponent of small team and covert operations. There are a number of people who have done, we could write books which foreigners will read on military operations and, young leadership. But this restriction of how much you can tell, what you can tell, it inhibits writing skills.
In fact,
and if you don't read and write...
Naravane's case, we heard of General V.K. Singh's book where he was booked for talking about India's external intelligence. He was booked under the Official Secrets Act and subsequently is still waiting for his book to be out in the public domain. General Shukla wanted to make an intervention, sir.
I wanted to make this point. General Moore spoke of General Sundarji. I was the commandant of the War College, and General Sundarji had been one of the commandants. So one day I was sitting and one combat paper fell out, and it was titled India's Nuclear something something. I saw in his own hand General Sundarji's scribble, and I compared that with India's nuclear doctrine. It was very nearly India's nuclear doctrine. That is the value of scholarship and brilliance. People make this mistake that the military doesn't need scholarship, doesn't need intellectual rigor. That there couldn't be anything more further from the truth. We need people who ideate well, who act well, who execute well, and who narrate well. And General Sundarji is the foremost example of that. The second issue, and I will just take 30 seconds, this whole business of writing national security strategies, why it is so important. General McMaster makes this point that somebody like Trump, we know how, shall we say, how impatient is he with these documents. When he started figuring the 2017 national security strategy, he said, my whole attempt was to get Trump to own it. So I used to send him drafts, he would read them reluctantly, I would get to own him. And that has now resulted in what we call the Donro Doctrine. It is on the military leadership to get the politician in so that this Uchit narrative expands. It doesn't have to be Uchit. There has to be day-to-day interaction. Trust has to be built. And perhaps the onus is both ways. And when you do that, see, India today is in a very happy space as far as civilian control is concerned. Nobody questions civilian control. You look at the crisis that China is in, a very deep crisis of generalship. Pakistan, of course, is a basket case. But from this happy space, can we go to a more productive civil-military relationship? If we do that, India will become this great power that we all, aspirationally wish to be. I think that should be the central lesson from this episode of General Naravane.
Here's hoping that in this ugly controversy that we've had, trust doesn't become a casualty, and at least we can walk away having learned the Uchit lessons, the real lessons. For your wisdom, thank you very much, General Shukla and General Moore, for having joined me. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Padmaja. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.